Yasu Malaka. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis, where did you go? What happened? I mean, he was everywhere for a while in the 80s and 90s, and all of a sudden he was gone. And then in September 2020, I woke up in my beautiful bed. It's a Serta. I didn't want to leave it. And, of course, I do what most people do when they wake up. They go on their phones, they go on Google, they look at the news, they go on YouTube just to start off the day. And what do I see? I see Mr. Van Wilder, aka Deadpool, aka Mr. Ryan Reynolds, in a commercial with the one and only Rick Moranis. And it's some kind of commercial about saving money on a new plan. It's a new company called Mint Mobile. Ladies and gentlemen, if you take the subway as much as I do, these companies pop up every couple months. $30 a month, unlimited. That actually sounds pretty good. And in the commercial, you just see Rick Moranis walk in there, and there he is, still looking good. He kind of looks like, remember Seinfeld? Remember when Jerry and George were trying to get that NBC deal with the one guy, and the guy fell in love with Elaine there after seeing her cleavage? That's what Rick Moranis kind of looks like now, So, but he looks pretty youthful. He looks good, man. You look good. And, he's just shooting the shit with Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is a big fan of his. Of course, if you're a Canadian, you grew up watching SCTV and, just all the movies he did, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, all that shit. And, of course you love Rick Moranis. Who doesn't love Rick Moranis? I mean, the guy was just a nice guy. He was like that cool, quiet, nerdish guy you'd always see in a movie. But, he wasn't that big of a nerd. I mean, he played it up more in Ghostbusters for sure. But, I just, a great guy, a great Canadian. I mean, just an awesome dude. And I'm really glad to see him again. I really am. And, if you don't mind, as most of the times you guys don't, my three fans out there, thank you. Mom, Dad, and my stalker. I'd like to talk a little bit more about Rick Moranis. And what do? Always go to Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, to help me out. Frederick Allen Rick Moranis, born April 18th, 1953, is a Canadian actor, comedian, filmmaker, and musician. He appeared in the sketch comedy series Second City Television, also known as SCTV, in the 1980s, and several Hollywood films, including Strange Brew, Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, Little Shop of Horrors, Spaceballs, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Parenthood, My Blue Heaven, and The Flintstones. In 1997, Moranis began a long break from acting to delegate his time to his two children as a widower. He would not appear in live-action film for decades thereafter, although he provided voiceover work for a few animated films, including Disney's Brother Bear. He also released comedy albums and made appearances at fan conventions. After a nearly 23-year hiatus from live-action films, Moranis signed on to appear in a new sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids called Shrunk. Now, this was a rumor for a long time because they saw him on set, and obviously that means, he's got to be back. That's awesome. That's beautiful. I love hearing that news. So, like I said before, if you know Moranis, he's a proud Canadian. It says right here, Moranis was born in Toronto, Ontario, to a Jewish family. He went to elementary school with Geddy Lee, frontman for the rock band Rush. Wow, I didn't even know that. Just when you thought this guy couldn't get any cooler. His Jewish ancestors are Hungarian extraction, coming from Kolos Zavar, I fucked that up, sorry, Kingdom of Hungary, present day Cluj, Poca, Romania. A couple words there I've never said in my life. Mr. Moranis, please forgive me. But again, that is fucking awesome. Okay, if you don't know the band Rush, I don't want to even know you. You see that motorcycle guy right there? I guarantee you that guy knows Rush. The point is that if you're Canadian, you love Rush, they're awesome. And he went to school with him. That's so cool. You know, with Moranis being back now, I mean, who knows what else he's going to be in. For sure, he'll be in that. I'm sure if the movie's a hit, they'll keep making more of them. Who knows? But, yeah, I'm just excited he's back. Like, I really am, guys. I mean, you know, this is pretty cool. So, and, you know, there's a couple facts here I found about Mr. Rick Moranis. Let's get into it. Why not? What else do we have to do? It's Friday, and I'm out of beer. Seriously, remember those big fat bottles of Molson Canadian beers? Why can't they bring those back? I mean, come on, just for like a limited time. Just let me relive the 80s again, please, okay? Mr. Rick Moranis got his big break thanks to a Canadian television content regulation. After working at a Toronto radio station after high school, Moranis appeared on a sketch comedy show on the CBC called Second City TV. Obviously, we all know that. The show's a classic. We'll get into that in a little bit. The show, which was in its third season when Moranis joined in the 1980s, legally had to devote a few minutes of airtime in each episode to identifiable Canadian content. In other words, Canadian television had to contain some Canadian or some kind of Canada relative whatever content in which Moranis found silly. Now, even I didn't know this, okay? We all know the famous sketch. We're going to get more into that in a little bit. How about right now? After the crew went home, Moranis and fellow actor Dave Thomas satirized the requirement by improvisation, the characters of Bob and Doug McKenzie, two stereotypical Canadian brothers. The sketch filled extra airtime with Canadian content, and audiences loved Bob and Doug. Moranis and Thomas portrayed the McKenzie brothers in the 1983 film Strange Brew, which they also wrote and directed. And their comedy album, The Great White North, got a Grammy nomination for Best Comedy Album in 1983. If you have not seen this movie, it is a cult classic. If you haven't seen the sketch on SCTV, it is classic. It is excellent content. And you know what? Now I think about it, it makes sense that they were just trying to fill in Canadian content for the show, because every sketch, like, it seemed like, I mean, they had like little breaks in between there and just like more pauses than they had to. So they're probably just trying to stretch this out like as much as they could. And it's just two guys shooting the shit, drinking some beers, saying some Canadian facts, whatever. You know, it's just funny, you know? And you can tell a lot of it is improv. I mean, both these guys are classic, you know, Second City actors. You know, it's awesome. So when you got a chance, check that out for sure. Rick Moranis counts filming Little Shop of Horrors as one of his luckiest moments. In 1986, Moranis starred as a florist, Seymour Krelburn, in the film adaptation of the musical Little Shop of Horrors. As he told The Hollywood Reporter in 2015, "I'm the luckiest guy to get that. It was timing. And I fit the right type. It was an amazing experience. one of the greatest moments of my life was shooting That Thing. Now, it's funny he says That Thing because, yeah, this movie, again, I'm going to get into it later, but yeah, this movie's a trip for sure. Rick Moranis starred in a Pepsi commercial. In 1995, Moranis starred in a funny Pepsi commercial, playing twins separated at birth. One twin is in America, while the other grows up in Germany. We all know the other one grew up in Canada. But anyways, one sunny day, the twins telepathically connect via the power of drinking Pepsi. Pepsi paycheck in the 90s? Ka-ching. Rick Moranis left Hollywood to become a stay-at-home dad. In 1991, Moranis' wife died of breast cancer, and he had to reshuffle his priorities in order to take care of his two young children. In a 2005 interview with USA Today, he explained that he stopped making movies in 1996 because he couldn't juggle being a stay-at-home dad and traveling to make movies. I took a little bit of a break. The little bit of a break turned into a longer break. And then I found that I really didn't miss it. You can't blame him. I mean, the guy did the right thing, you know. Before that, he did a lot of hit movies, you know. My heart goes out to him, you know. It can't be easy for anybody to go through that. And yeah, he decided, you know what? I'd rather be at home and be a family man. So there's nothing wrong with that. Rick Moranis has done voice work on a few animated movies. Although Moranis shifted his focus from movies to raising kids, he never completely retired. In 2001, he did voice work as both the toy taker and Mr. Cuddles, the teddy bear, in the animated film Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys. In 2003, he voiced Rut in the animated film Brother Bear and reprised the role for his 2006 sequel, Brother Bear 2. I always say, and even Chris Rock said in that great speech at the Academy Awards, you go in there, you do your thing, boom, they give you $1 million. Now, I don't know how much money he was making during this, but again, you can make a good little paycheck doing this work. And at the same time, he was able to provide for his family and be there for his kids. So that's great. Rick Moranis is a Grammy-nominated musician. Is there anything this man can't do? In 2005, Moranis let the world know about his love of country music. The Agoraphobic Cowboy is a comedy album comprised of 13 songs inspired by alternative country and bluegrass. Although Moranis admitted that the album began as a lark, it was nominated for a Grammy in 2006 for Best Comedy Album. I started writing a song, Moranis told Billboard. I wrote one, and then I wrote another one. I was singing them to a couple of friends, and they'd be relatively amused. You know what, in this world, you put something on YouTube, people might bite, maybe they won't, who knows? But, you know, a guy like Rick Moranis, you know, at this point, you know, he was kind of doing voiceovers for 10 years, nothing there. You know, so if you hear about this, I mean, you're like, hey, let's check it out. So why not? And he got nominated for it, so that's cool. Rick Moranis' Jewish upbringing inspired his most recent album. In 2013, Moranis released another musical comedy album called My Mother's Brisket and Other Love Songs. Thematically, Moranis focused on his Jewish upbringing, and he used a mix of klezmer and jazz sounds on songs like The 7 Days of Shiva and live blogging the Himmel family bris. The best part? The deluxe pack of the album comes with a purple yarmulke. Yarmulke. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to lie to you. I've never actually seen the word yarmulke spelled. A lot of times, as you can tell by this podcast already, I barely passed high school, so I find it hard to actually read well, and I had to look up this word, and I had a feeling it was yarmulke, but I just wanted to make sure. So, but the point is, that's cool. It comes with a free yarmulke. That's awesome. Purple, the color of love. Ask Prince. Rick Moranis still has tons of fans. No shit. Moranis lives in Manhattan and often gets recognized on the street. As he told The Hollywood Reporter in 2015, people are very nice when they see me. Moranis attributes some of his enduring influence to his clean style of comedy. We were governed by a certain kind of taste at that time, and there were places we wouldn't go with language and bodily fluids and functions. I think that's what fans are nostalgic for. It's true, you know. It's not like today where people go on stage, do comedy and movies, you know, just talking about their pussies and, you know, doing helicopters with their dicks. It just, whatever. I mean, you know, like back then it was more clean, you know, but it was funny, you know. Rick Moranis kind of represents that whole era of that. So, you know, to this day, I'm not surprised that people still follow him and love him. I mean, that's awesome. Rick Moranis never sought fame for its own sake. Moranis says he never decided to be an actor for the fame. Rather, he focused on the art itself, and fame publicly followed. The need to do publicity and everything other than the work is not something that I set out to do, Moranis told Heeb, H-E-E-B, I'm pretty sure I said that right, in 2013. For some people, it is. They want that. They want the connection to the audience. They want their name in the paper. For me, that was just a byproduct of work's success. I didn't really seek out any of that stuff. He also didn't seek out any celebrity friends. He told the magazine that he hasn't kept up with any of his co-stars in more than 20 years. You know, I've always said this, and again, this proves like how, you know, cool and nice of a guy Rick Moranis is. I mean, like, again, like when you're in this business, you know, okay, you know, you want to make money, you know, you want the fame, whatever. Some people don't give a shit about that. They just do it because they love doing it. They love to entertain people, you know, like I do with my 3 followers. And, you know, you just want to provide some cool content. You want to provide something that's, you know, memorable, hopefully, and people still remember you, you know, 20, 30, who knows, even 50 years from now, you know. So that's cool Rick Moranis said that, you know. I mean, we all pretty much figured that out by him, you know, because he seems like a really nice guy, but, you know, I can see that. Rick Moranis avoids airplanes, but not because he's afraid of flying. In an interview in 2013, Moranis revealed that he avoids airplanes in favor of driving, but not because he's afraid of flying. Moranis dislikes the dragged out process of flying, from getting to the airport a couple hours early to dealing with sick seatmates. We started to hear the stories of people stuck on the tarmac for 6 hours, he said. If that happens to me, I'll be on the front page of the New York Post the next day. I'll fake a heart attack or meltdown. So it's better for me to stay away from airports. Mr. Moranis, I do not blame you. I hate the process of flying too. A lot of people do. I've been on flights where you're just sitting on the plane, then all of a sudden there's something wrong. You got to sit there another 2-3 hours, you know. It sucks. The process of flying sucks, in my opinion. So if you can avoid flying, please do so. There's no point. You know, if you can somehow find a boat to go to Greece, you know, I fuck it. I'd rather do that than deal with the Malakias. Rick Moranis's decline for a role in the Ghostbuster reboot. Now, obviously, I talked about this before, but let's see what he has to say about this. Although the original Ghostbusters stars Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, and Sigourney Weaver all appeared in Paul Feig's Ghostbusters reboot, Moranis wasn't among them. As he told The Hollywood Reporter in 2015, he was offered a cameo role but declined. I wish them all well. I hope it's terrific, but it just makes no sense to me. Why would I do just one day of shooting on something I did 30 years ago? Now, I can't speak for Rick Moranis, okay? This is just my opinion, okay? I believe he's being a very nice guy about this. He probably read the script and said, you know what? What's the point in doing this? Okay, it's almost, I already talked about this till I'm blue in the face already. The movie's a scene-for-scene shot remake. It's not very good, you know. And I don't want to hear things about it, you know, sexism and whatever, because I'm going to use the argument saying that every guy in the movie looked like a jerk-off, you know. I like the part at the end where the guy yelled out Baba Booey. I already said that already. But, again, you know, this is just Rick Moranis being nice and just saying, you know what, I don't want to do it. There's no point, you know. That's it. That's it. It's that simple. Rick Moranis made an appearance in the 2018 episode of The Goldbergs. Although Moranis' acting hiatus has lasted more than 20 years, now that his kids are in their 20s, he has said he'll act again once he finds an interesting role. I still get the occasional query about a film or television role, and as soon as one comes along that piques my interest, I'll probably do it, Moranis said in 2015. I'm happy with the things I said yes to, and I'm very happy with the many things I've said no to. Yes, I am picky, and I'll continue to be picky. Picky has worked for me. Thank you. See, a lot of actors, you know, like, you know, it's almost like an advantage of him being on a hiatus for a long time because, you know, Rick Moranis was always a nice guy. You never heard any problems with him on set. Nothing, you know. He always performed well, you know. So now it's like, you know, in the sense, you know, he doesn't have to prove anything else all these years later. But yet people still want to work with him. So, of course, he's going to be very picky with his roles. Because if he picks a shitty role after whatever, you know, almost 30 years, you know, people go, oh, this is what we waited 30 years for? Fuck you. He's going to take his time. Relax. If he doesn't like a role, he's not sure about it, that's it. He won't do it. Plain and simple. In 2018, he finally found a project worth coming out of retirement for when he reprised his role as Dark Helmet from Spaceballs on the May 9th, 2018 episode of the 1980s set The Goldbergs. Now, if you've never heard of The Goldbergs, it's told from an adult perspective of how this kid grew up with his Jewish family, and it's very well cast. It is a very funny show. I'll give it that for sure. And I'm not surprised, you know, he would pick that role. And then, you know what? If anything, I'll do you one better. He played it safe. He played a role that everyone liked that he did in the past, you know, and he did that just probably in a different way. I didn't see it, but I'm sure he killed it in that. So, you know, that's awesome. You know, you got to be careful when you pick these roles again, you know, from a long hiatus, you know. Take your time, no rush. Who cares what people say? I don't know. I mean, honestly, I mean, you got to keep in mind, Rick Moranis didn't have to deal with Twitter and YouTube and all this shit and all these stupid comments of all these fucking losers still living in their parents' basement. I mean, he didn't give a shit about that. He doesn't give a shit about this now. I mean, that's the point. So, you know, he's going to be careful. He's going to pick his roles very carefully. And that's it. Why? Because he's got nothing else to prove. And he wants to put out good quality stuff. I could have said shit there, but I'm trying to keep it classy like Rick Moranis did back in the day. Stuff. He wants good content. And that's what any good actor wants, is to provide something good for his fans. Rick Moranis will appear in Disney's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids reboot. We already mentioned this, but I'm excited. I'm going to mention it again. Fuck it. The appearance on The Goldbergs must have sparked something in Moranis, shortly after it was announced that Disney would be rebooting Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Rumors began circulating that Moranis would officially come out of retirement to appear in it. In February 2020, Variety confirmed that Moranis has indeed signed on. Who knows where he'll go from there? And it's true. I mean, will he just do this and that's it? Will it be a hit? Maybe they'll want to do more. Will it make him do other work? Who knows? Who knows? But for now, I'd like to close off the podcast with talking about every job that Rick Moranis has done. Because that's what I do. I go on IMDb, not Rotten Tomatoes, because I want actual, ratings that actually mean something. And let's talk about Rick Moranis' awesome career. Now, the first job that Rick Moranis ever did in his life was in 1976, and it was a little TV series called 90 Minutes Live, which I've never heard of. A few years before I was born. There's no description here. I'm assuming it's a skit show. I don't know, Hey, look, everyone's got to start off somewhere. But let's be honest. The real thing that we know what really started Rick Moranis' career was a little kick-ass show called SCTV. Okay, now he played various characters. Okay, but we all know he's going to be most known for Bob McKenzie. Goes on there with his buddy, Mr. Thomas, who I love very, very much as well. They go on there and they just act like the stereotypical Canadian boys. Just shooting the shit. Everything with the accents, with the cases of beer. You got the map in the background. What more do you want? Okay, it does not get more Canadian than that. Okay, this, Trailer Park Boys, the Rez. I mean, I don't know what else Canadian television is known for, but we got this, and it's awesome. So if you got a chance, go on YouTube, pick up the volumes. As far as I know, I don't think they've officially released full seasons of SCTV. You can get them bootlegged, and just check them out. Trust me, you will not be sorry. Also SCTV Network, same thing, same show, same pretty much. But just check it out what he did, and you'll see from there like why was he just a rising star from that. Then he did Saturday Night Live. Showed up on there as Bob McKenzie. I didn't know that. I gotta check that out. And then right after that, of course, it became so popular, that one skit, that they made it into a movie called Strange Brew. And it was awesome. It's definitely a cult classic, for sure. Awesome movie. Check it out. Then he did Streets of Fire. Streets of Fire. I don't know. Never heard of this movie. A mercenary is hired to rescue his ex-girlfriend and singer who has been kidnapped by a motorcycle gang. Oh shit, I've heard of this movie. Yeah, I remember this movie. Okay, this is actually a pretty good movie. Yeah, Rick Moranis. I think Rick Moranis plays like a bad guy in it, and yeah, he's kind of an asshole in this. Yeah, he's pretty much the opposite of what you know him for today. Maybe that's why he took the role. I don't know. But this is actually a pretty good movie. Check it out. Then, of course, Ghostbusters. The beautiful year of 1984, gave us Ghostbusters. I think most people know the story, how he got this role. Originally, it was supposed to be John Candy playing Louis Tully. Him and Moranis him and Dan Aykroyd went back and forth on it. And then John Candy wanted to do it in like an accent or something, and it didn't fall through, for whatever reason. And then they went with Mr. Rick Moranis, and the rest is history. I loved in that movie how he just, he's just going around and just telling people about his place, and, oh, that's real Newfoundland salmon, and, I pick up the aspirin, for cheaper, and I invite mostly people at my work, because, it's just, cheaper for me, hey, Floyd. Okay, who invited the dog? So he killed it in that one. I mean, that was awesome, yeah. Somebody let me in. And then like when he gives that one guy on the horse the stare, whatever, and he just runs away, knocks over the girl's groceries. What an asshole. Yeah, so he's fucking awesome in that. Ghostbusters is one of the funniest movies of all time, period. One of the best movies of all time, in my opinion, but you already know that. The Wild Life. The Wild Life, I don't know. 80s teen romp involving Bill and his new apartment, Jim and his rebellious antics, Tom and his crazy self, and Anita with her older man. Cameron Crowe wrote it. Okay. A lot of people from the 80s, for sure. Eric Stoltz, Chris Penn, Lee Thompson. Yeah, I never saw this movie. It's weird. Wow, jeez, they got Chris Penn here with platinum blonde hair. Holy fuck, he looks like Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus had blonde hair, didn't he? Who am I thinking of? The Roman, what? I don't know. I'm tired, guys. Anyways, but yeah, it looks all right. Then he did a TV movie called Hockey Night. I never heard of it. A female goalie player faces prejudice opposition when she joins a boys hockey team in Parry Sound, Ontario. I've heard of Parry Sound, that's for sure. Paul Shapiro. Sounds very familiar. Oh yeah, the guy, director for 24, Heroes. Yeah, so this guy's done a lot of shit. I might have to check this one out. I'd never heard of it. Ladies and gentlemen, any hockey movie I'll check out. It doesn't matter. The Last Polka, also a TV movie. Yes, okay, so this is one of the skits that Eugene Levy and John Candy did together when they did the Polka Twins here. And mockumentary depicts the final concert of Yash and Stan Shmigi, aka the Happy Wanderers. I didn't even know they made this movie. Fuck, that's I don't know. Again, you learn something new every day. Okay, I did not know they made a movie about this. I'm gonna have to talk to my secretary later. But yeah. I would check that out. I'm gonna check it out. Brewster's Millions. I remember John Candy being in this movie. I forgot Rick Moranis was in this movie. You know what? That's right. He's in that one scene, I think. But this is a great movie. I mean, when you got a chance, check it out. Definitely one of Richard Pryor's best for sure. The whole point is this guy's trying to. I think he inherited a bunch of money. Then he's got to get rid of it in a certain amount of time to get it or something. And then but his money keeps making him money, and it's just a funny movie. Check it out. Head Office. Head Office. I never heard of this one either. I didn't get the best rating. Judge Reinhold. Okay. He's the guy from Beverly Hills Cop, right? Yeah, Billy Rosewood. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay, that's him. Yeah. Okay. I never saw this one, so I can't say anything on it. Sorry. Okay. Next movie he did was Club Paradise. Club Paradise. It's a Harold Ramis movie. Retired Chicago firefighter partners with a reggae singer to turn a seedy Caribbean nightclub into a resort of affluent tourists. Robin Williams, Peter O'Toole. Oh shit, like a cast of people. I never heard of it. Didn't get the best rating, but I don't know, it looks like they're all having a party in the water there in the movie poster. I don't know, I'm gonna have to check that out. There we go. Little Shop of Horrors. Okay, now this movie kicks ass. Like I said before, it comes from a musical. He was very thankful to get this role. This movie's a trip, man. It's just one of those movies. I don't want to even describe it. It's just he has a shop, whatever, and he becomes friends with a man-eating plant. listen, this was the 80s, right? Yeah, so, like shit like this you can get away with. But it was a really good movie, good music. Yeah, definitely check this out. I think I had like the plastic toy for this. I mean, I used to put like the black marbles were heavy, and then the light marbles, red ones, were plastic. So the whole point was you had to throw things in his mouth, and if it closed, then you got screwed. I know none of you know what I'm talking about. Before cell phones, kids, there were a thing called toys, and this is the best thing that we had for entertainment. So yeah, if you ever can find that, it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's a pretty trippy movie. Check it out. Spaceballs, comedy classic. Mel Brooks. If you don't know who Mel Brooks is, you're not my friend. This is just basically just making fun of all the Star Trek, Star Wars movies, whatever the fuck. Great cast of people. Mel Brooks is in it, obviously. John Candy, Bill Pullman. Who else you got here? You got Michael Winslow. Oh yeah, I forgot he was in this. Yeah, Joan Rivers. Apparently, Joan Rivers never actually was the robot. She just did the voice. But this is a really funny movie. And Rick Moranis' character plays Darth Vader, a very exaggerated version of Darth Vader. The big helmet and everything. Everything they're taping now. They're taping live. Even as we're saying it now, they're taping it live. You will get these references once you watch the movie, but it is a really funny movie. Absolutely check this out. And like I said, if you don't know who Mel Brooks is, guys, please do your research. I don't know why I'm the one that has to tell everybody this. Okay. Anyways, Ghostbusters 2. Obviously, Ghostbusters 2 is not as good as Ghostbusters 1, but it's still good. I liked it. Plays the same guy in it. He ends up, having a kind of a love story with the secretary there, Miss Annie Potts, a.k.a. Janine Nettes. I didn't even know she had a last name, like in the movie. I got to be honest with you. It was funny too because like her character was kind of hitting on Egon in the first one, and I don't know. I guess she gave up that dream and decided for Rick Moranis. So why not? Check it out. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Now, the concept of this movie is just quite simple. He plays. Rick Moranis plays a guy named Wayne S. Zelinsky, and he's just inventing all these weird things, whatever, and then he ends up inventing a ray where he shrinks people, and he accidentally shrunk his kids, and his kids go missing, and they're in the backyard, whatever, figuring out a bunch of shit, how to get back to normal. And this was a huge movie when it came out. It made a shit ton of money. Yeah, very good movie. Very good family, fun, entertainment movie. Yeah, good movie, guys. I liked it a lot. I loved it as a kid, still like it now. He was in the music video of Bobby Brown, On Her Own, which is a song for Ghostbusters 2. Bobby Brown was he was like the doorman or something for the office there. The Proton Pack is not a toy. Yeah, so he's in that. They had a bunch of celebrities in that video, Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. All right, you know how it goes. Parenthood, Steve Martin movie. I forgot he was in this. I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I do remember I did like this movie. Yeah. Good little movie. I just forgot he was in this. See, again, I mean, it's been so long since I've seen Rick Moranis in anything. I'm starting to forget what he's in. But good movie. Check it out. The Rocket Boy TV movie. He's in that. The Earth Day Special TV movie. He was in that. My Blue Heaven. Yes, I remember this movie a little bit. Wasn't as good as Parenthood, I'm not gonna lie, but still, a little good movie. I liked it. It was all right. Yeah, I'd check it out. There was a TV series called Gravedale High, which I don't remember at all. Gravedale High. Oh, the cartoon, right? Okay, so guys, you gotta understand this. I'm a '90s kid for the most part. There were so many weird cartoons that came out in the 90s. Everything from this to Denver the Last Dinosaur, My Pet Monster, just a whole bunch of crazy shit. I mean, and just some of these cartoons, like, they just lasted like one season, you know, they went to an actor, okay, let's do this, da da da. I mean, it's just what was it, a high school just of monsters, that's all. You know, you wake up on Saturdays now, there's nothing. Back in the day, between, let's say, 9 and 12, they would just run all these cartoons. It was crazy. So if you want, check it out. If not, you know, whatever. That's on you. L.A. Story. He plays a gravedigger and he's uncredited. I don't remember this movie. Another Steve Martin movie. L.A. Story. I don't know. The movie poster kind of looks like the Karate Kid a little bit, but with the sunset. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Honey, I blew up the kid. Okay, so instead of inventing a ray that shrinks the kids, now he's blowing kids up. They're not exploding, like literally they're like just growing big. You know, picture like the Cabbage Patch doll, just I don't know, the size of Godzilla. Okay, so you know, I remember seeing this movie at the drive-in. And it was funny, at one point, my dad, you know, like at the end, they're trying to figure out, like, how to, you know, shrink this kid or control him, whatever. I think the kid ended up in Vegas somehow. I don't know how the fuck that happened. I don't know. He was that young and already had a gambling problem. And then my dad, I remember, he said that, you know what they're going to do? They're going to blow the mom up because a kid always needs his mom. You know, and I'm in the back just laughing my ass off. You know, I'm like, yeah, sure, buddy, whatever. And that's what ended up happening. So, and I just realized I gave away the movie. But the point is, it's a good movie. Check it out. It's not as good as the first one. If I can go back in time, spoiler alert, 10 seconds, whatever, fuck it. The point is, it's a good movie. If you like the first one, you like the second one. I still feel the first one's the better one, but, you know, whatever. Splitting Hairs. I don't remember this movie either. Writer was Eric Idle. We all know who Eric Idle is. If you don't know who he is, go fuck yourself. Yeah, I never heard of this movie. I never saw it. Judging by the movie poster, it looks definitely looks interesting. I'll give it that. Next movie, The Flintstones. Okay, so Flintstones is my favorite cartoon of all time. Maybe one day I'll talk about that in a podcast whenever I have free time, which means I can do it anytime. So, yeah, you know, years later, they decided to, you know, make a movie, a real life action movie about it. And the casting was fine, you know, although I'm not going to lie, I don't know if I would have cast Rosie O'Donnell for Betty. I probably would have picked Jennifer Tilly, but that's just me. It didn't have much of a plot. That's the problem with this movie. It was a very simple plot, you know. Fred fails a test or something, and then Barney switches tests with him because, you know, Fred gave him money to a thing with adopt Bam Bam, whatever, and it's not, you know, Halle Berry's in the movie, so that's another plus. All I'm saying is it just wasn't there, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's almost impossible to take a cartoon and make it real life because you get away with so much other shit in cartoons, and you know, but they tried. You know, it is what it is. It's good for a little cheap laugh, whatever, but you know, I would stick with the cartoon. That's just me. But, you know, it was good casting. You know, I thought he did a good job playing Barney Rubble. But, you know, it is what it is. Little Giants. This is a pretty good movie. I enjoyed this movie. Basically, he faces off his misfit of little giants, a.k.a. little pro league he's got going on there against Ed O'Neill, a.k.a. Ed O'Bundy, a.k.a. always has a hot, beautiful woman and wife in every show he does. Yeah, you know, it's a good little comedy. I like it. I mean, I put this movie up there with The Sandlot. Although The Sandlot, you know, over the years has become, you know, this huge cult classic. I always liked it. But I put it up there, you know, sort of with that era, the 90s, whatever. I liked it. It's a good movie. Check it out. Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. This was a short. I never saw this one. I don't know. Where was it released? I don't know. It looks like something to do with maybe the dog is something. I don't know. Listen, Disney finds a good product, they'll roll with it. That's it. What are you gonna do? Sesame Street, he was on there. If you were a star, even today, I don't know if Sesame Street is still on. I don't know. That's something I gotta check out one day. But yeah, he showed up on there. Of course, it's I don't know. Me personally, I grew up with Sesame Street in the '80s, '90s. It's a huge honor to be on there. So I think that's cool. Big Bully, which I believe was probably the last movie he did before he officially retired. This movie did not get good ratings. I'm going to be honest with you. I like this movie. Okay, I like Tom Arnold. I know Tom Arnold's had the past. I get it. I know. We all know that. I thought it was funny. Basically, Rick Moranis' character was teased by this guy growing up, and then Tom Arnold's character sees him again and just wants to pick on him again as an adult. And there's some pretty there's one dark scene I remember. I don't want to give it away, like a river or whatever, but I like this movie. It's good for a cheap laugh. I liked it. I got a 4.7 rating out of 10 on IMDb. Sometimes IMDb is wrong. I hate to say that. Okay. I don't think Gravity was anything special. The point is, if you want a cheap laugh, watch that movie. I thought it was funny. I liked it. And then what do you do? Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. A quick little video there. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Island of Misfit Toys. Okay, so this is where we started doing the whole voiceover thing. Miss Spider's Sunny Patch Kids, TV movie. Brother Bear, sing-along songs. Brother Bear, On My Way. Brother Bear, the video game. I never heard of this Brother Bear. I don't know. Let me, hold on. Give me a second, guys. Let me click on this thing. Okay. It looks familiar. It sort of does, actually. Yeah, maybe. Okay. I don't know. You can understand, so more in the 90s, early 90s, I was more of a Disney kid, with Aladdin and Lion King coming out and all that. So a lot of these new cartoons, I just have no idea. I don't know. I've never seen a Minions movie. I just hope I just heard the same guys are going to make a Mario movie. I hope they don't fuck that up, like in 1993. But anyway, The Animated Adventures of Bob and Doug McKenzie. Excuse me? I did not know they made an animated. Why did I not see? Again, my secretary is just lacking. Why did I not hear this? Why did I not hear they made a cartoon version of this? Why? Why am I just hearing about this now, guys? Okay, well, you know what? It's Friday. At least I got something to do during the weekend. Cool. Brother Bear 2. Then he did Doug and Mackenzie's 2-4 anniversary. I like that. 2-4 refers to as a 24-pack of beer. For those of you who don't drink and like to have a good time. Yeah, again, I did not know he did this. Fuck. Okay. All right. I got something to do Sunday. Cool. Rush, Snakes and Arrows live in Holland. Maybe just showed up live on stage, I guess. I don't know. If anybody that's ever been to one of these concerts, let me know in the content section. Always wanted to say that. Okay. Then, like I said, he ended up years later in the Goldbergs in the one episode there. And as far as we know, the only thing in pre-production for Rick Moranis right now as we speak is Shrunk. So, that's it. That's all I got for you guys, Like I said, I woke up today. I saw the video of him and Ryan Reynolds doing it, and we've all wondered what's happened to Rick Moranis. I mean, we did hear for a long time he did do voiceovers and all that, and But here's the big question: you got Ghostbusters coming out. Now it's being delayed because of COVID. It's supposed to come out, I think, in May 2021. Is he going to be in it? Is he going to have a role in it? Is he going to just do a quick cameo? Will he not even bother to be in it? I don't know. I checked on IMDb before. There's nothing about that. I mean, obviously, it would be here in his acting credits, filmography, but Nothing, but maybe he's keeping a secret. Who knows? Will somebody let it in? Let him in? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Will he have to face another killer dog at a restaurant? And will people look at him for 5 seconds and then go directly right back to their meal? I don't know. I don't know. But all I will say is this. Rick Moranis, I'm glad you're back, even for, who knows, maybe even a short little while just to make the one movie and that's it. I hope to see you in Ghostbusters. You know, I really do. Kudos to you and your management on not being in the recent one that came out 5 years ago. That just shows that you absolutely do care about acting and you really do care about being in a good movie. So, yeah, that's awesome. And that's it. Has anybody ever seen Rick Moranis without glasses? Or, I mean, like, is it like kind of like a Lisa Loeb thing? I mean, will he lose like his powers or something? Or, I don't know. But either way, man, Rick Moranis, glad to see you back. We missed you. And I just honestly hope that Shrunk isn't the last thing he does. And I hope at the end of Ghostbusters, I get to see in the credits the name Rick Moranis.